That kind of change result is no restart.
Big move in Bitcoin then, in contrast to all the notes I wrote pre-show, which were telling me that this was going to put Bitcoin under pressure.
The narrative that perhaps this launch of these political meme coins will sap flows from Bitcoin is showing us that it's really not the case this morning. If anything, it's just accelerated the momentum and the excitement around cryptocurrency under another Trump administration.
Hi, Dewald. What is all this FOMO about? Should I buy Bitcoin now?
Are you smoking your socks? You should rather watch my show. You should rather watch my show.
Right, legends, welcome to a nice and early live stream today. Just want to move my camera up here a little bit. I feel like that's better. That's better. Welcome to another early live stream a little bit today. Remember to smash up that like button on your way in. Let's talk about what happened last night after I ended the live stream and what is happening now and a potential trading scenario. I just, this is why I'm here on the CVD at the moment. Just don't like what is happening here. I don't like what is happening here at the moment, right? But we do have some nice bullish CVD building up against this pivot. We have some bullish bullish CVD against this pivot and almost against this low. We have some bullish CVD forming, but locally price needs to start playing ball. So what this tells me, it could bounce and claim the low again. And until retail gets exhausted and retail is like, okay, no, we give up. We're not going to short any or long anymore, right? That is where it becomes very interesting for me to jump into a long. So I want to quickly just analyze the small structure here on the price of Bitcoin. Then I'll go into a little bit higher time frame and just show everyone some of the scenarios that I am watching. Okay, there's a chance, right, legends? There's two longs that I'm looking for at the moment. Two longs, and I will explain that in a little bit more detail. Right, I'm here on the 5-minute time frame. Okay, and I'll say hi to the community in a moment, but I just don't want us to miss the potential trade. There's a chance, okay, just to quickly highlight, there's a chance that price is going to claim this low. There's a chance, right? And I will speak about the longing opportunity that I'm looking for downstairs. But there's also a chance that price forms a higher low and then we break to the upside. So there's two longs that I am waiting for. Okay. And we have some bullish CVD building up at the moment. So there's a chance that we can go and claim this high before we claim the low based on bullish CVD. But local CVD, meaning the smaller time frame CVD, like I've just pointed out over here, is just not playing ball. Bybit, the people playing Bybit USD, trading on USD Bybit, right? They are longing like crazy people at the moment. I just don't like it. All of the rest of the exchanges and USDT and the rest of the exchanges, okay, these people are shorting at the moment. So Andy, welcome, man. Welcome to the live stream. Aditya, I see you guys. I will get to you in a moment. Right, legends. So I'm now looking at this little local structure to see that, well, are we going to form a higher low and continue momentum to the upside, where all of this here to the downside was just a damn three-wave structure, like I explained last night in my live stream. If this is a three-wave structure, right, potentially this low is protected for now, and then you have another three-wave structure, ABC, you can have another ABC, and it can just ABC itself out of here. Three-wave structures has just been so dominant throughout this whole entire range that we have been in. So let me quickly get to the meat and potatoes. Right, legends, let me quickly get here to the meat and potatoes. So let me switch on my stuff. This is what I'm looking at, legends. This is what I am looking at. If price is going to make a higher low without claiming that low, this is the zone that I'm looking for price to find support. Okay. From a simplicity perspective, you can wait for the break of the trend. Okay, if you do not know what to do over here, you can wait for price to break the trend. Hopefully you get a nice little retest that forms that bull flag and you play the breakout to the upside with your stop below the low. So there's a couple of ways to get into this trade. So if you believe price is going to claim this low, just stay out. Don't do anything. Okay, wait for the trend to break, because if it's going to take the low, if I can just get my brush here, if it's going to take the low, at some point it's going to come and break the trend, and then you play the breakout. And then you don't have to be part of this mess here to the downside. If you are a scalper and you want the best entry possible because you want to get in over here before the breakout so that you can have a free trade to the upside with a protected position, well then this is where you need to pay attention. Right, so cool, legends, let me explain what I've got over here, and then I'll do a little bit of higher time frame analysis to show everyone, well, what are the probabilities, okay, to come and take this low. Right, remember to smash up that like button on your way in, currently getting the bounce, and let me take you guys through these levels one by one. Okay, so let me just clean it up ever so slightly over here. Trend-based fib, I can switch off. Okay, so from a Fibonacci perspective, you have a low and you have a high of the range. Currently, we are here tapping the golden pocket, which is usually a great bouncing zone. Okay, look at how beautifully these FIB levels has been respected. We tapped the 0.382. We got a nice little three-wave structure here to the upside. A little bit of consolidation at the 50%, not much, and now we're here at the golden pocket. Okay, from a trend-based FIB perspective, okay, because now I'm speculating on, well, what if price does find support here and it doesn't claim this low? This is the zone that needs to hold. And this box is here for a reason, because this morning when we made this low, I did a live stream with our Legends Pro community and I told them, well, you know, you have a low and you have a high of the structure. And this low, guess what? Guess what? That low was made too early. I told the legends this low was made too early. It was made before the 0.382. And price was starting to pump here to the upside. And I said, well, legends, if we do break out, it's most probably still part of the same structure that at some point will then start correcting itself. But if this is the top over here, it's too early. We need another low. And we need another low after the 0.382. So now this is where it becomes interesting to me, because this low is after my minimum requirement of where the low needs to be made. Okay, so this is why my box starts here. So anywhere in this zone is a very interesting zone for me to look for longs. The longer price can consolidate in this zone without coming down. So if it can go sideways, maybe even tap the 786 perfectly fine, but the longer it goes sideways and the longer it takes in time, then you start increasing the probabilities that you're going to take that high before you take the low. So if it wants to drop, it needs to drop now or soon, right? It needs to just claim the damn low. Right, but I will talk about the trading opportunity to the downside as well. Okay, so now legends, from a timing perspective, this is starting to look interesting. It's inside of my green box. From a Fibonacci perspective, we have tapped the golden pocket. If I now and I go and I look at the trend base fib, okay, so let me take this out the way. And now I also look at the trend base fib, is to say that, well, if this is a three-wave structure to the downside, a three-wave structure to the downside, well, we have some targets. We have just tapped the 1.23 and the 1.382. These are three-wave structure targets. We also got a reaction at the 1-to-1 extension, and you know it, the 1.618, very magical. 1.618 also aligns with a massive amount of volume. Okay, so this is the most interesting zone where I will be looking for a long. And hopefully retail gets tired by longing when we get over here, because, okay, the Bybit peeps, hey, they are longing like crazy people inside of this range. So perhaps we're going to come and stop them out again. Right, so what I want to show everyone over here is, from a timing perspective, it makes sense to make the low inside of this range. From a Fibonacci perspective, fib retracement from the low to the high, we are in the golden pocket. From a trend-based fib extension, because I'm measuring this as a three-wave structure, so you take your trend-based fib from the high to the low to the high, okay, interesting targets where we're currently finding support. Right, I do like the 1.618 level for that berry CVD just to play out. It would be nice for that berry CVD to play out, and then we find some upwards momentum, break the trend, okay, and then off to the races we go. So this is where I'm looking for a long. Now, when I start planning my trade, okay, so I can now clean up the chart ever so slightly over here and switch on my long tool. So I plan my trades. I want to know, does the risk to reward make sense? And if we do break to the upside, okay, where do I plan to take profits? Okay, so 2.1 risk to reward. The stop loss is 1.06% away. So I know that if I play with about 90% of my capital at 1x leverage, I will lose 1% of my portfolio if the trade goes against me. Very important. I need to plan these calculations. I don't want to risk more than 1% of my portfolio. Okay, so I can, in essence, build a position in this green box. Okay, I can build a position in this green box, 0.5, maybe 0.5 here at that 1.618 level, and then I'm done. I'm done building. There's no more cash to be added, guys. Don't go in with your entire portfolio at 100x leverage. Okay, that's just absolutely insane, right? So then I know that if the trade goes against me, guess what? I'm losing 1% of my entire portfolio. It's nothing, because I know with the next trade I can make that 1% back. Right, legends. So teaching you guys, well, just educating you guys here on good risk management as well. Okay, let me just drag this trend ever so slightly. Now, so there's the chance, based on bullish CVD, that this trade can play out, right? And maybe it's going to leave, maybe it's going to leave everyone behind, and this is potentially already the low. I don't know, legends, but I have already nibbled at a small position when we tap the 1.382. So when I take the trend-based fib, there we go, right? When we tapped the 1.382, I nibbled a little bit, 0.5%. 0.5% of my capital. Just had to get the math right over here. So I nibbled a little bit. Technically, it does make sense. There is larger time frame, bullish CVD building up. Okay, I don't like the Bybit CVD, but I have seen CVD does get invalidated at times. Okay, so I'm nibbling at the trade. And if price had to turn around and it dips and it taps the 1.618, this is where I will add an additional 0.5, which means I am now in at full capacity in terms of what I'm risking for this trade. If price continues to pump over here, then, you know, I'm still going to make money here to the upside. Maybe we break out, beautiful retest. That is where I will add to my position. Okay, so legends, I wanted to quickly focus here on the smaller time frames just to show everyone, well, what am I looking at? Because there is a chance that this low is protected. Price is going to form a higher low in the zone and continue to the upside in a three-wave structure. Okay, in a three-wave structure, and I want to take advantage of this move. Right, now I have to also be the bearer of bad news, okay, because price is bumping here now, a little bit slightly here to the upside. And what if it does turn around and it takes this low? Right, so first, before I continue, legends, if you want the biggest bonuses and lowest trading fees on Bluffin, Weeks, BTCC, right, here's the links down in the description. Also your way to support the channel, but it costs you nothing extra, and this is where you get the biggest sign-up bonuses and lowest trading fees. Bluffin, you get 15% cash back on the money that you deposit, okay, to trade with for free. It gets airdropped into your account. Weeks, 20% gets airdropped based on the money that you deposit in your futures account, 25% discount on your trading fees. And I've got BTCC over here as well. Currently, I've actually got this trade open on Bluffin. Ooh, already 10% in profits. Okay, nice. Let's see if it can hold. Let's see if it can hold. Right, Legends. So, also, guys, if you want to join our Legends Pro community, where I dropped the alpha first this morning, I did an hour live stream with the Legends Pro community, explaining them exactly what I'm looking for, okay? Here's the link to come and join our Legends Pro community. So, now, let's dive right back in. Andy, I see you are still here in the comments. Let me know if you agree with the analysis over here. I like it, Dewald. Double zigzag up and still in the range. Triangle. Yes, yes. I want to talk about that scenario, Andy. The triangle scenario is very, very interessante. Very interessante. Okay, so Legends, let's clean up the stuff. Let me switch this off. And I quickly want to jump here into the 1 hour time frame. Okay. So quickly, what I want to discuss here, Legends, is there are two scenarios that I'm now currently watching. There's a scenario that I'm watching where we're going to claim potentially both of these lows. And then there's a scenario where this low is protected, okay, which means obviously these two lows are protected as well. We still go sideways and we pop to the upside. Right, so let's first discuss... Not that one. There we go. Let's first discuss this scenario, right? So this scenario is still very much in play. And this is why I am speculating on a long over here, because I know that this scenario is still valid, where you formed either a WXY or an ABC, which is expanding, by the way, but it does balance better, you know, because of how long this fifth wave is. Doesn't matter. 3-wave structure in a W. You have a WXY in a X. You have formed another 3-wave structure in a 3-wave structure in a B, a 3-wave structure in a C. Now I want to see a 3-wave structure in a D and another 3-wave structure in a E. And guess what? That completes your Y wave. And then you absolutely rocket here to the upside after this corrective structure is done. The power about this corrective structure that I have to point out, something that I mentioned to the Legends Pro community this morning as well. If this plays out and we still go up and down one more time, one more up, one more down, and we complete the Y wave without taking this low, and we break out of here, the significance of this breakout over here is that if I go onto the 4-hour time frame, now this is where it becomes really interesting. Because when I look at the lows that we made here on the 7th of April at $74,600, if I take a time fib from the low to the high of the structure, now this looks very interesting. Because after this Y wave completes, you can now see that you could have formed a corrective structure that makes sense from a timing perspective, where this impulse has now officially corrected itself and it can go up for another impulsive wave to the upside. So from a timing perspective, it makes sense. Remember guys, during so many live streams, I did explain to everyone why this low does not make sense. It finished before my minimum requirement. Well, now this looks better. Okay, it doesn't mean, and I often speak about this, Legends, is it doesn't mean that the lowest point in the structure is where the correction ended. You could have a sideways corrective structure that ends over here, but that is the lowest point. But this is actually where it ended, in a WXY, and you continue to the upside. So you basically have a sideways corrective structure. You do not take this low and you continue to the upside. So this is still a scenario that we need to pay attention to, and it's still very much in play. Okay. Right. Now, I want to talk about the bearish case scenario. So this is a little bit of hopium to say that, well, maybe, you know, this low is protected. We don't take it for now, and we continue momentum to the upside. But then there is the bearish case scenario that I quickly want to highlight over here. Where did I put that? I have spoken about that one, by the way. Sorry, legends. I had it this morning, and here we go. Right, here we go. Okay, I want to talk about this scenario. I know it looks a bit messy, okay, but I'm going to draw it out. I'm going to draw it out again for everyone, right? Just very quickly. You have an A. This could be your B, and now we're going down for a C. Right, I did a lot of research this morning. It balances, it makes sense, it is allowed. Because some people will say, well, your B is not allowed to have a lower high. Yes, it is. Your B, the minimum requirement is a 3-wave structure. We have a 3-wave structure in a B. Your B is allowed to make a lower high than your WX over here. Okay. Right, so I have to talk about the most bearish case scenario is that you've basically formed a 3-wave structure in a 3-wave structure in a B, which is basically a running flat, a flat zigzag, okay? And now you are forming 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here to the downside in your first wave inside of your C wave. Okay. The good news is all of this is still corrective, even if we come down to $95,000. That's the good news. It's still corrective, which means you're still going to come take this high at some point. Right. I'm going to point out some of the problems in a moment, but now there's the question of, well, what if this is the local 5-wave structure here to the downside? So let me zoom into the 1-hour time frame. Okay. Because this is something that I was pondering about this morning. Can you have an A, a 3-wave B, and such a short C wave? Now this, ladies and gentlemen, is a problem. It's not an invalidation, but it's a problem to have such a short C wave compared to how long your A wave is. Okay? In Elliott wave theory, you have to compare your A wave and your C wave against each other, and usually they have a relationship from a timing perspective. Okay, so if I take a time fib from the high of the structure and I measure how long did it take A to form, and I click it over there, and then I select it here on B to say that, well, okay, is this an ABC? Yes, it can be an ABC. A, B, C, 5-wave, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, it needs to take the low. There's a problem, guys. There's a problem. Okay. Can you have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that ends over here in a C wave? Yes, but it's rare. Because the relationship, the time it took to form your A wave and the time it's taking to form your C wave is very short in time. There's not a proper relationship between the two structures. Okay, so not an invalidation. It can happen where you form your 1, 2, 3. This is 4, which rejected by the 50% Fibonacci, so it's still valid and it claims the low. And now you have a 5-wave structure to the downside. Now the question is that going to be the completion of the C wave? That is now the big question. From a timing perspective, it does not make sense. But now this is where it gets interesting. To correct for time, you could say that, well, after 5 waves, you get a wave 1. You go back up for a 3-wave structure in a 2. Then you go down for 3. Then you go down for 4 and 5. Now, from a timing perspective, that looks way better. That's what I'm saying, guys. If we are forming a C wave here to the downside, A, 3-wave B, and a larger C, then from a timing perspective, it makes complete sense. Because now you have a balance between the two structures. But guess what? It's still a corrective structure. It's a 3-wave corrective structure. Okay. So I just have to talk about the bearish case scenario, legends, that if this structure locally here to the downside, okay, let's zoom into the 15-minute time frame, forms a 5-wave structure. Okay, basically you have 1, 2, 3. This is your 4, and now we're going down for 5, which means you have to claim the low. There's a chance that this C wave is far from over. You go back up for a 3-wave corrective structure, and then you absolutely tank in a third wave to the downside, which is all part of the C wave. Right, the clue would be taking this low. As soon as we take this low, then we know we have a 5-wave structure to the downside. Okay, it must be said, and I had this discussion, we had a little bit of a debate inside of the chat section inside of Discord as well, okay, that this structure to the downside looks very 3-wavy. Where's 4, where's 5? Okay, it looks 3-wavy. Yes, beautiful 3-wave to the upside, and then what on earth is this? It's an absolute nightmare to count 5-wave structures. Okay, you could most probably, count 5-wave structures inside of this structure, but this is the clue. It's it looks like here on the 15-minute time frame, it looks like a 3-wave structure to the downside. That is not how you want to count an impulse. And because this looks like a 3-wave structure, there's a high chance that you're not going to take this low for now. Because if this is a 3-wave structure, it means this entire structure is a 3-wave structure. A, B, C, W, X, Y, it doesn't matter. It's a 3-wave structure. The low is in, and you want to find a little bit more of upwards momentum to potentially continue that triangle that I've showed in the first scenario. Okay, but it's my job as a technical analyst to show you both the bullish and the bearish case scenarios. Now, okay, I've explained to everyone my trading plan in this zone because I am speculating that this low could be protected. There's signs of strength. There's some bullish CVD building up on the larger time frames, on the 15-minute time frame, 5-minute time frame. Locally, it's a little bit iffy, okay, but there's a chance that you could form that higher low over here and then break to the upside. This is the trade that I'm speculating on now, and I'm not going to risk more than 1% of my portfolio on this trade. If I get stopped out, okay, where is the next trade? Because I have a plan, guys. I'm not going to go and cry in a corner if I get stopped out. I have a plan, right? I know exactly what I'm going to do if I get stopped out. I'm going to look for a next trade, right? So let me take this out the way. Take a fib from the low to the high of this structure. Oh, sorry. I think I need to include this pivot. There we go. There's this fib over here. So now I'm looking at this entire structure. There is a very, very interesting pivot over here. Very interesting pivot together with a 786. I'm just going to keep it simple. If this is forming a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, boy oh boy, I can long this damn retracement. Okay. So if I get stopped out, I am interested in the 786 and a swing failure pattern from this low. Very much interessante. Okay. Right, legends. So if this is going to form a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I would not expect the 5th wave to extend, okay? Because the 5th wave is usually is a short-ish wave. It's not really, your 3rd wave needs to be the longest wave. Okay, so it looks like this could be a great zone for an SFP. From this pivot, you grab all of the liquidity where the people's stop losses are, and then you get that bounce in a 3-wave corrective structure. But once you've formed 5 waves here to the downside, okay, there's a high chance for a corrective 3-wave structure to the upside, and then you could potentially look at claiming these lows. Right, so this is my next longing opportunity. If I do jump into this long, I will be looking for shorts with this retracement to the upside. Definitely be looking for shorts. But for now, I'm giving the bulls the benefit of the doubt, okay? So let's take this out the way. Go back here onto the 5-minute time frame. This is now where I'm giving the bulls the benefit of the doubt. There's a chance that this little low is protected. Okay, and then my stuff over here is potentially going to play out. Right, which is basically going to continue that triangle here to the upside. Right, legends, let me go through some comments. I see the comments are absolutely streaming in. I appreciate all the love that you guys are sharing. Tips, the legend himself. Are you talking about Mark Dutch? Because I see Mark Dutch here in the chat section. Welcome, Mark. Absolutely great to see you here. Always appreciate the mod support. Mr. J Jack, welcome. Short now. Shorting now. Are you shorting now? Right? If you have a trading plan and rules, why not? Middag Dewald, I'm late, going to rewind to see the other scenarios now. Absolute pleasure, man. Play on 2 times speed. Okay, this is one of the best things that you can do is if you can train your brain to listen to content on 2 times speed, it means you can consume twice the amount of content in the same amount of time. Right. Ooh, you guys want to short over here like crazy people, okay? I'm looking for longs and everyone's looking for shorts. Well, let's see how this plays out, okay? I am applying good risk management. I can tell you guys now that if price comes to the 1.618 and it gets a reaction, okay, that's where I'm interested, and I'll deploy the rest of my 0.5% capital. If price moves against me, stops me out, you know exactly where I'm looking for the next long, okay, with a 5-way structure to the downside. If we break out from here, okay, and we do get a nice retest, if we can break out and get a nice retest, I will consider adding to my position. Okay, right. And then from a profit taking perspective, I'm going to keep it simple, legends. So let me take the stuff out. Let's look at the structure here on the 15-minute time frame. Okay, this is what I'm looking. Oops. Support and resistances. Okay, and I mean these support and resistances has been playing out to perfection so far, right? Where did we get the rejection this morning that I pointed out to our Legends Pro community? Exactly inside of my resistance box. When I switch on the VRVP, or you can use your fixed range volume profile, you'll see it's a wall of resistance. Can you guys see that? Right, you have a wall of resistance over here. Price tapped that level and absolutely just fell to the downside. So now you want this support to hold. You want support to hold. Okay, you already dipped below. And maybe you can have another attempt for momentum back to the upside. Right, so these resistance areas automatically become profit-taking areas. So if I'm playing along over here, this is an absolute definite TP1 for me. If price can successfully break out over here and continue to the upside, TP2. Okay, this is most likely where I'll close my position. If you want to leave a moon back open, why not? Okay. There is a chance, I must say, there's a chance that if price is going to move higher over here, okay, that these lows could be protected in that triangle scenario that I've explained. Let me go back here onto the 30-minute time frame. Let's switch on the triangle. Okay, there's a chance. Okay, so if you catch a nice entry in this zone and it does bounce to the upside, hits resistance, there's a chance, because remember, E is not allowed to take the low of C. C is not allowed to take the low of A. So if you are in an amazing trade over here and we do break out here to the upside, there's a chance that even with a pullback, you won't get, you won't get out of your position depending on how good your entry is, right? Because that's the low that should not be claimed. If you enter over here, it could still stop you out and then leave without you. But this is why, guys, TP1, TP2. Okay, let me go through some comments. Hi, Legends Neo, welcome to the live stream, my man. Right, who else is here? Who else is here? Mr. Mark Dutch, welcome, man. Sandra Cool Crypto, hi Dewald, welcome to the live stream. You're the man, Dewald. Donnie, thank you so much. I love you, Andy. I also love Andy. We all love Andy, right? We all love Andy. Okay, let me go down here, see what else. Refresh your comment section, Dewald. I already put that phantom in a timeout. Oh, okay, sorry. Yes, this feed that I get on my streaming software for some reason doesn't want to take out deleted comments. Then I have to go here to the YouTube thingy. Okay, but thank you so much. I appreciate the mods, moderating the comment section over here. Ram, welcome to the live stream. Hello, Dewald. Can you show? Hello, Dewald. Can you show how to play a swing failure pattern? Sure. Yes, I can. Starting to lose my voice. Sorry, Legends. I can actually tell you how I played yesterday's swing failure pattern. Last night. I'm not sure if you guys noticed. Okay, last night when we tapped the 0.88, I ended that stream and I jumped into the long because I saw the reaction and I was like, okay, I know how to manage my risk. I'm going to jump into that trade, right? So, yes, last night during my live stream, let's go back here to the 15-minute time frame. What happened? It got absolutely scary here to the downside. Okay, when you take a FIP from the low to the high, what happened last night? Price fell here to the downside and we tapped the 0.88 to perfection and we got a reaction. And just as I was finishing the live stream, I said 0.88 gang, pay attention. Okay, I ended the live stream not quick enough, right? Because I didn't have my exchanges and things open. It's difficult for me to place trades and sign in and two-factor authentication while I'm inside of a live stream. But I wanted to be part of this action because I knew that there's a chance for that triangle where this low could be protected. And although this looks very bearish, there's a chance that you're not going to claim that low. So when I saw this reaction and after I ended the live stream, I jumped in over here. I had a late entry, I must admit. I have a little bit of a late entry, but I know the probabilities, okay? Usually, mostly what happens is if you tap a 0.88, you go back to the golden pocket and you reject. And I wanted to take advantage of that move. And that's what I did last night. I'm not in that trade anymore because I don't like to leave day trades open because I know myself well enough. I don't get quality sleep because throughout the night, every time I wake up, I open my phone. How's the trade doing? How's the trade doing? It's just a psychology thing for me. So last night after the live stream, I jumped in over here somewhere. I can't remember exactly. And I closed my position over here and I went to bed. In and out. But I made some significant gains with that little move here to the upside. Okay, because I also got stopped out yesterday. If I take a FIP here from the low to the high, okay, this is another attempt that I had yesterday at the 786. This little consolidation area, I was speculating on a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and a 3-wave corrective structure that needs to find support, and there's massive support over here which we lost. This is why we got the consolidation and the reaction. So here I entered a long trade with my stop loss that was 0.2% away and I got stopped out. And then this trade made back all of that money plus profits in the bag. So very happy about this trade that I jumped into yesterday, managing the risk. So now your question is, how do you play a swing failure pattern? Okay, so this one actually happened very fast. So it's not the best example. Okay, it happened very, very fast. But what I like to see is I like price. So if this is my area of interest, okay, this is actually a beautiful one because it got such a nice reaction. The quicker it reacts and jumps back to the upside, the higher probable it is it's going to play out, okay? But I want price to tap my level, which it did, and start trading above. That is a swing failure. It's failing to break down. It taps the level and it starts trading above my area of interest. That is where I enter. Okay, above my area of interest. What you could have also done is yesterday in the live stream, I discussed to say that I was keeping an eye on the 786. Okay, 786, I was keeping an eye on the 786. So if this is your area of interest, you could say, I am not interested in a trade as long as price is below my area of interest. As soon as price gets above your area of interest, that is where you trigger the long. Your stop goes below the low. As price moves in your favor, what I like to do is de-risk myself and start taking profits. The trick about swing failure patterns is it's easy for me to explain to you how to get into them. Okay, and for some people it might even sound like, well, that's common sense. Wow, it's so easy. I can't believe I've never seen that before. You have to know where to take profits. Okay. You have to be very defensive. You have to do your calculations. Don't jump in with your entire portfolio, because what a lot of people do when they play swing failure patterns, often they get them right. Okay, so maybe some people were lucky. They jumped here into the 0.8. They don't know where to take profits. So they're like, wow, look at my profits. Okay, and now price, what if price comes down and it stops you out? You had profits. You had the opportunity to take profits. But because you got greedy and you didn't know where to take profits, now you have nothing. Okay. Could price continue as per the long scenario that I've highlighted? Of course. But at least pay yourself when you start hitting resistance. That's a wall of resistance we hit over here. At least take 10, 20, 30% off the table. Leave a moonbag open. If you're in a camp of it's definitely going to play out, we're going to make a higher low over here, I caught this entry. Okay, it's always a good idea to at least just pay yourself something. Right. Okay. Also, from a simplicity perspective, guys, I want to see if there's maybe another example inside of this local structure. Okay, because you all know I love to educate, right? I love to educate. So let's put on my stuff. I know it looks like a mess, so I'm going to clean it up ever so slightly over here. I just want this one. That's all I want. I want this one. Okay, so this looks definitely like a three-wave structure here to the upside. Maybe ABC and a W. This could be a X. And now you have a double zigzag here in a Y wave. I don't care, guys. It looks like a three-wave structure. It does not look like a five-wave structure, I'll be honest. Okay, unless you can share a count that I'm not seeing. But now I'm looking at these levels, okay? So the reason I nibbled at an entry at the 1.382 is because it tapped the level and it bounced. I added a small little position. I'm not playing a swing failure pattern over here, but because I'm so trained in swing failure patterns, for me that was a nice little reaction to start my entry. Okay, because my stop loss is here. Okay, this is a 1% loss if I lose this trade. It's minimal for me. Okay. Do I still have that open? No, I actually deleted that. Right. So if you plan your trade, and let's say you entered where I entered, more or less in this zone, I'll show you now my profit taking area. Your stop is at the low. You can see that this is, okay, it's a what? It's a 1%. It's less than 1%, guys. So to put it into perspective, if you trade with 100% of your capital, all of your capital at 1x, you don't apply leverage, it means that you will lose 1% of your portfolio if you get stopped out. Or you can take 1% of your portfolio and apply 100x. It's the same amount. Don't you agree? It's the same amount of cash. Doesn't matter. And that's why I always say leverage does not matter, because you do not know how much capital that person put behind the leverage. You could have a 500x position. The person opened up the trade with 0.05% of his portfolio. People go crazy and ballistic thinking that this person is absolutely insane. How did he play with such high leverage? You don't know how much capital he deployed behind that leverage. Because I can have 100% position open with 1x leverage, okay, and make the same amount of money as this person with a 1% position at 100x leverage. The most important point is, how much are you going to lose of your portfolio? How much are you going to lose? That's the most important part. Right. Clean this up. Right, legends, remember to smash up that like button. Okay, let's see if we break out of this trend successfully. Do I still have the trend over here? And I'm also, guys, I'm starting to lose my voice, so I might not stay on the live stream for much longer. But now I have explained all the probable scenarios and that I'm looking at here at the moment. I think I deleted that trend, but this is basically the trend. I want to see if we're going to successfully break out from this trend. I want to see what CVD is doing. It's still yellow is so damn bearish. I cannot explain to you guys how bearish yellow is, but it could overwrite the yellow, because blue and white is absolutely fine. Very neutral, very neutral. And now you have this bearishness. Yeah, look at this. Okay, even against this pivot, right? Bearish CVD. Just want to see something over here. Right, that got invalidated. Right. There's a chance. You have some local berry CVD, but only a single confirmation. Okay. Pump, sending power to that setup. Dewald. Yes, Andy. Yes. Let's see if this plays out. Let me see how the trade is doing, by the way. Let me see how the trade is doing, because often people won't believe that I'm in the trade. Let's go, legends. Here is the trade that I am currently in at the moment. Right. Here we go. There's the trade, guys. There's the trade. I've applied 45x leverage. Doesn't matter, because you don't know how much capital I deployed behind that 45x. Okay. And if we do come down to the 618 level, I might add another 0.5% of my portfolio. If not, then I will see what happens here to the upside. So if we do get a successful breakout and it comes back for a nice little retest, I like those little bullish pennants that form here against the trend. And if it breaks out over there, okay, I will add to the position. So it doesn't mean that I can't still add to the position to compound or you know, to maximize my profits to the upside. I just need to see what I need to see. Okay, because you could also reject by the trend and fall back down. Right, if you guys would like to come and trade with me, I've got the links for the exchanges down in the description, like Bluffin that I've just shown you. And guys, also, you know, when you trade larger moves, like I'm trading here at the moment, okay, I know a lot of people are like, oh, the trading fees. Okay, we like Mexi, we like weeks because the trading fees are low. Because I play bigger moves to the up or to the downside, trading fees really does not impact my trading because I play bigger moves. When you scalp, okay, you're playing those just 0.01% moves, okay, up, down, up, down, up, down. Yes, trading fees plays a massive role. But for the type of trading that I do, trading fees does not, okay, it doesn't matter. Right, but I've got Bluffin, 15% cashback. If you'd like to come and trade with me on Bluffin, I have noticed that some of the larger account traders, they do like to use Bluffin from a liquidity perspective. Weeks also amazing, 20% cashback. 25% discount on your trading fees. So not, you know, that's more attractable to your scalpers. You know, you're playing those small little moves to the up and to the downside. Also, BTCC, guys, amazing exchange, up to $10,000 sign up bonus. And I have Phoenix here as well, guys. $150 free airdrop, right? Go check it out. Go check it out. Also, your way to support the channel and cost you nothing extra. Okay, legends, let's see how this plays out. So in summary, okay, I hope I can remember everything here in summary. If price, I want to go and mark out that level. Okay, let's go back here onto the 15-minute time frame. I'm losing my marbles over here. I want to take a fib from this low to the high, 786. Very important, together with this pivot. Okay, if price does not successfully break the trend and it falls down, this is where I'm looking for another long. Swing failure from the pivot. We do have a daily level at the 0.88 if I remember correctly. Okay, but I don't know if the fifth wave will extend that far. Right, and to the upside, very interesting. Okay, if you look at this structure, again here to the upside. Take this out the way. In case you have forgotten, maybe, that if this is a 5-wave structure that is still in the formation, okay, can you guys see where I'm looking for that long, right? If it is a 5-wave structure, you take your fib from number 2 to number 3, okay, and if price can manage to break out successfully and tap the golden pocket, you will invalidate the 5th wave. At the moment, the 4th wave tapped the 0.5, which is still valid. So if price can successfully break out and tap the 0.618, you start increasing the probabilities more so that this low is protected. And you're going to continue the range sideways. Right, so that is basically, remember to smash up that like button. If you're not subscribed, make sure that you subscribe for future notifications. Legends, my voice is leaving me at the moment, so I'm gonna stop it over here and say, have yourselves an amazing afternoon, trade safe, and until the next one, cheers for now.